Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the star line by international best-selling author, speaker, and entrepreneur. His latest project is editor and co-author of Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite. We welcome James Whittaker.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's go beyond the mic. When you decided to take on this project, how important was it to present the simple solutions provided by Carnegie while applying them to today's times?
Well, extremely important. And I mean, it's very easy for us to fall into the trap that this time is different, this time it's different, this time is different. And the fact of the matter is that there are timeless principles that have worked to solve every single problem that we're facing in the world today that have worked for people for hundreds of years. So what we've done with Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite is we've gone straight to the source in Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. It actually contains excerpts from that original interview, and we've complemented that with examples of the most successful individuals and companies today who are not just more successful than ever, they're also giving back to make the world a better place. And I think in the current climate that we're in, what could be more important?
Currently, the United States is in one of the most polarizing elections of our time. How would Carnegie look at democracy as it is right now?
So Carnegie would be a little bit disappointed about the situation we're in at the moment. And I think it's way too divisive, the politics that we're in, but also in the environment that we're in at the moment, people are busy trying to stop someone else from having a voice. So that would be a great disappointment for Carnegie. So he would actually sit there and say, what can we do to learn more about the other people's opinions? How can we create and really cherry pick the best ideas rather than being so partisan focused to really help the great majority of the American people? How can we find something that really works for more of us? Because I really feel that the greatest existential threat that we face today is division, and we're certainly not trending in the right direction at the moment.
A financial collapse due to the pandemic is rolling out around the world. What words would Carnegie use to help people begin to start over after financial or health hardship?
So I think it's important to realize that it's part of the economic cycle, and Carnegie was such a successful businessman for such a long time. So he was acutely aware of those economic cycles, but also people need to recognize what's in their control. So the fact of the matter is that when the market is having one of its regular downturns, because it's just part of the economic cycle, that's where Carnegie would be going in, and he would be buying these companies and other resources and assets and things he needed for pennies on the dollar. That's what people like Warren Buffett today do. And it's really that people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were really inspired by the philanthropic endeavors of Andrew Carnegie. So basically seeing an economic downturn as an opportunity to buy rather than sell, because the stock market itself is really driven by fear and greed. When it's doing well, people unfortunately want to buy more because of greed. And when it's having a downturn, people want to sell because of fear, and it actually should be reversed.
Do people fail because they don't try or because they don't try hard enough?
The one thing the world is not short on is people who work hard. So we know that hard work alone is absolutely not the cornerstone to success. Now, if you've got the right plan and you're surrounding yourself with the right people and right resources, then hard work is a very important asset. But it's making sure you think a lot bigger than just that hard work. So people fail for a whole bunch of different reasons, but I think probably the biggest is that they don't know what they want and they don't know who they are, and they haven't got a plan, and they haven't recruited the right people to follow that mission. Because what you need to do is, rather than trying to achieve something alone, is bring people into it so it becomes a shared mission rather than a solo mission. Because there's just no way that one person alone is going to be better than 500 people who are working together, or 500 versus 1,000, whatever it might be. Recruiting as many people and as many assets as possible is really going to get you where you need to be. And a big part of that is the character trait of resourcefulness. So the clearer you are on your destination, where you want to go, that's what enables you to be resourceful enough to recruit everything you need and resilient enough to continue and persist when adversity inevitably strikes.
What's that one lesson that Andrew Carnegie can give us today?
To me, it's the best way to get is to give first. So really boldly being of service to others and thinking about what you can do to give to other people without the expectation of anything in return.
How can people find you and your book?
People can go and grab a copy of Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite now. It's at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere else you find books. JamesWhitt.com, JamesWhitt.com. I've got a whole bunch of free resources there for people to get, and they can also check out my podcast, Win the Day with James Whittaker.
Time's running out, so it's time for the Rocking 8. 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure.
I love it.
Last bill you paid?
Phone bill, mobile phone bill.
You've launched companies in health, film, activewear, and more. Growing up, what did you want to be?
I actually wanted to be a lawyer was my first job, which I moved away from fairly quickly as a teenager.
Last gift that you bought?
Oh, it was actually a recording studio session for a good friend of mine.
Have you ever been in a fist fight, and who was it with?
Many, many years ago. I actually did boxing for a couple of years, but I stopped after I was getting too many headaches.
What's your go-to comfort food?
Oh, my comfort food, probably mac and cheese is my favorite.
Last place you went on vacation before the pandemic?
Oh, we had a trip to Hawaii for September that was cancelled, unfortunately. It feels like a long time. It was actually Australia. Back home, we had 3 weeks in Australia over Christmas.
Last family member you talked to?
That would be my wife.
What legacy do you want to leave?
I really want to help people help themselves. So I want to help more than 1 billion people to take ownership of their financial, physical, and mental health. So if they can do that, I think it was a life well spent.
He is an international best-selling author, speaker, entrepreneur. His latest project is editor and co-author of Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite. We thank James Whittaker for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks so much for having me on, Sean.
Absolutely. And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic.